Hi, Emily. How are you doing since last session?
Oh, I'm not good. I feel awful. I'm exhausted. I can barely keep my eyes open. And all I keep thinking about is David's busiest season starts in 3 weeks from now. He'll be working 60 hours a week. I'm going to have the baby all by myself.
All right.
And I keep thinking, like, it's a normal Tuesday and I can't handle it by myself when he gets off at 5. What am I going to do then? I'm not going to be able to handle it. I'm going to snap. I'm going to ruin the baby. I really am not going to be able to do that.
Okay. Well, first I want to say that, those are some very terrifying thoughts. I totally understand, those feelings. But I also want you to, notice that, as I had asked you how you were doing, how quickly your mind kind of, ran into next month and the issues with next month. Um, and I also kind of noticed that you got a little fidgety and your breath is getting a little bit shorter. So tell me, as you're telling the story about the future, how does that make your body feel?
Oh yeah, definitely. I get panicked. My chest gets tight. It gets a little bit difficult to breathe.
Okay, yeah. So I think we're seeing some of that because you're kind of creating an emotional hurricane. You're here, in this present moment, and none of those things have actually happened yet. But you're seeing all the possibilities and all the ways that things could go wrong and badly for you, and so it's just creating a lot of turmoil around you. Um, but what I think would be most helpful before we kind of dive into those thoughts about motherhood is really kind of doing what's called a grounding technique, all right? And being more in the present. So, would you be willing to try a new technique with me today?
Sure.
Okay. Well, it's very simple. All you need to do is just kind of sit back, close your eyes. And the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to press our feet into the floor. I just want you to feel the pressure as you press down into the floor. Good. And now I'd like you to sit back in your chair and really feel the fabric. Notice that the chair is holding you up. You don't have to carry your weight there. The chair's got you. And now take a deep breath in and then exhale out. Good. And then I want you to open your eyes and just look around this room and tell me 2 or 3 things that you see.
The orange chair you're in, the coffee table, the painting behind you.
Okay. And now just take one more deep breath in and out. Good. Now, the anxiety that was with us before, it's still in the room. But you're also here in this room and here on this Tuesday. Your baby is still home safe. Nothing wrong there. But now, that we're here in this moment, how is your energy being in this moment rather than there in the future?
Yeah, I'm not letting myself be exhausted by the energy I was using on the future things, so I wouldn't have any energy left for today.
Good, good. Yeah, and so yes, so the anxiety may still be there, and next month, very well, it could be very difficult. But as we ground ourselves here, we can see that currently this is all that you can control is this present moment and how you spend your energy right now. We can't really do anything about our energy in the future. And so now, doing that and recognizing that you can't waste that energy, how's your body feeling now thinking about it?
Yeah, definitely. I feel looser. I'm still really tired, but I feel like the panic isn't there anymore.
Okay, good. Good. And so now that we've kind of like grounded ourselves and, we're not expending that energy on that, I think now is a good point where we can start to like look into those thoughts that you were having about motherhood and about, the failing part of it and see what's going on in that space. Welcome back, Emily. It's good to see you this week. Before we dive in too far, I wanted to talk about our session last week. We talked about the index card and that thought of being a toxic mother, and how sometimes what we need to do is let that card rest, and hold it near us, but not let it like keep us from seeing what's going on around us. So, how did that work for you this week?
I feel like it worked a bit. So the thought will pop up, and then I do visualize it on that note card on my lap, like when the baby's crying, and then I'm reminded, like, oh, this is just a thought. But I'll tell you, at night at 2 a.m. when the baby's crying, that thought, that note card is out the window, and the physical exhaustion is just unbearable at that point.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that at 2 a.m. then. Like, what does your body feel at that time?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm drowning. My bones ache. I can feel the panic. Then I'll grab my phone. I'll desperately scroll for a couple hours. I'll be reading parenting forums, sleep training blogs. I'm just trying to find a schedule that will work, that I just won't feel this tired anymore.
Yeah. Well, Emily, I have to be honest, like, what you're feeling there, that physical exhaustion, especially in this motherhood and raising an infant without really much of a village of support, like, that is a very physically exhausting thing. And so it's completely natural that your body would feel that way. And it's what we often call clean pain. But I would like to, like, tell you a new concept called the struggle switch.
The struggle switch?
Yeah, so imagine like you have a literal switch on the back of you that whenever you start to feel exhausted or tired, it flips on, and then it starts telling your mind things like, this is a disaster, or this isn't going well, you're not doing this right, you shouldn't feel this way if you're a good mother, all sorts of things like that. And so that you're just like fighting a war that like is never ending. And so we call that like dirty pain.
Okay, so I'm making it worse by trying to fix it.
Yeah, so you're like using all of your remaining energy that you do have at night to fight that fact that you are tired. And what do you think would happen though at 2 a.m. if you just simply turn that switch off?
I mean, if I turned it off, the exhaustion may still be there and the baby may still be awake.
Yes, absolutely. Like turning the switch off is not going to make the fatigue magically disappear, and that clean pain of being tired is still going to stay. But if the switch is off, then you sort of just drop the rope. You don't fight a war on being tired anymore. You just put the phone down and you just feel that heavy fatigue, and you simply make room for it. You say, I'm feeling tired right now, and that's okay.
Alright, so if I stop fighting, it's not going to add panic, then I'll just be just tired.
Exactly. You would be just tired. Like, and being tired is safe. It's a natural thing to be. You don't have to try to cure something like that in the middle of the night. Well, Emily, we've been sitting here talking about the idea of the struggle switch and turning it off for a few minutes now, and I want to think about what that's actually going to look like tonight. Like, so you're just letting yourself be there, tired, not trying to fix it. What is showing up for you right now when you think about that?
I mean, it scares me a bit. I understand what you're saying about dropping the rope, but if I accept that I'm exhausted, is that just me giving up? If I'm not fighting to be this perfect in control mother, who am I? I mean, being a good mom is my only identity right now, and if I quit fighting that fatigue, am I just gonna disappear into it?
Yeah, that makes complete sense that you would feel that way. I mean, for your entire professional career as a project manager, and now in motherhood, like, you have been building an identity on fixing problems and being in control, perfect control, really. And so now, like, taking your hands off the wheel, I'm sure probably does feel really scary and maybe like losing yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm empty even thinking about it.
Yeah, but I'd like to offer you like a very different perspective on who you are though. So I'd like you to like imagine that you're the sky. And the sky is big. I mean, it has room for absolutely everything. And so sometimes the weather is beautiful and sunny, and that's like when your career was going well and you were feeling confident before you had the baby. But sometimes the weather can feel very dark and devastating, like a hurricane. And that was like the exhaustion and the guilt that you were feeling. Now, when that hurricane hits, it does feel like it's going to destroy everything. But I want you to think about this like, can a hurricane actually damage the sky?
I mean, no, the sky is it's just there. The hurricane and the storm just happens in it.
Right. So, like, you are not the sunny weather of your old job, but you're also not the hurricane of your current depression. Like, you are the sky. You're this container that's holding all these experiences that are happening. And the you that notices your exhaustion um, can't be broken by that storm. It's you not needing to fight that weather anymore to protect some identity. You being the sky is just safe.
All right, so I'm the sky, and I don't have to fix the storm inside me to be me.
Yeah, and so really, if you think about it, like that is an incredible weight lifted off of us because imagine that instead of staying up and fighting that all at 4 a.m. and using all your energy on that, imagine what it would be like if you had all that energy left over. Like, how would that change things for you? What would you build if you had more energy? What would change in your life? Or how would your marriage change with you and David?
Oh yeah, I want us to be a great team. I don't want to be the sole manager of the house and he just watches. I want us to have an equal partnership. I want us to raise our kid together.
Yeah. Okay, so like that equal partnership, like that is your true compass. And so this intensive motherhood rule that said like you have to do everything alone, that isn't there anymore. But your true compass is like pointing you towards a partnership. And so maybe we should look then and see what it would be like for us to walk in that direction of partnership rather than trying to fight the winds and the hurricanes. Hey Emily, it's great to see you this week. So last week, hey, we had a really great breakthrough. We realized that you don't have to fight the storm to protect who you are, and we identified your true compass, which was building an equal partnership with you and David. So, have you been thinking about that compass this week?
Yeah, I've actually thought about it a lot. Every time I get up in the middle of the night and I see him sleeping, I think about it. And I just think if I'm trying to be this perfect silent martyr type, I'm actually shutting him out. And I'm actually contributing to building a wall instead of the partnership that I want.
You know, that's a really incredibly brave realization. So, if we know that that intensive mother rule was just pushing him away, and you know that your true compass is pointing towards a partnership, then what do you think would be one specific step that you could take so that you walk in that direction?
Yeah, I think that this Friday, when the baby gets up at 2 a.m., I'm going to tap David on the shoulder. I'm going to ask him to take the shift. And I'm just going to lay there in bed.
You know, I think that's really a beautiful step in your marriage, but I also want to be completely honest, like, about what's going to happen when you take that step. So, when you stay in bed this Friday and you hear David in the nursery, like, how do you think you're going to feel?
Oh, I'm going to feel terrible. I'm going to feel so guilty. And I already know that my mind's going to be screaming at me that I'm failing as a mom.
Yeah, you know, that's probably very true. That guilt is probably almost absolutely guaranteed. So when you lay there, like that toxic mother index card is probably going to be laying there on your chest. And that struggle switch is probably going to be begging you to like get up and fix it. So here's the real question then, Emily. Like, are you going to be willing to carry that heavy guilt without trying to fix it so that you can move towards your husband?
Yeah, I can. I want to be a team again. I can carry the guilt.
All right, well, great. Then that's going to be your commitment. You're going to be committed to letting him parent, and you're committing to holding that discomfort and not letting it drive the bus. But just remember that, like, you have the anchor and you are the sky. Like, I think that you're ready to take this step.
Yeah, I'm ready.